Open your refrigerator and look inside. Maybe there is a soda, yogurt, yesterday's pizza, some fruit that traveled thousands of miles before reaching your kitchen. To you, that is ordinary food. To most of your ancestors, it would look completely impossible. For millions of years, humans ate in a world with no supermarkets, refrigeration, packaging, or guaranteed next meal. And what kept us alive back then still shapes what your body wants today. Go back around 3 million years. Our earliest ancestors were not powerful hunters. Most of the time, they arrived after something else had already made the kill. A lion would take down an animal and eat the valuable muscle and organs. Hyenas would come later, tearing through skin and crushing smaller bones. By the time early humans arrived, almost nothing obvious remained, except the parts other animals could not easily reach: thick leg bones. Inside them was marrow, soft, fatty, incredibly rich in calories. Early humans learned to smash those bones open using primitive stone tools. What looked like useless leftovers to another scavenger became an enormous source of energy to us. Skulls offered the same opportunity. Inside the brain was another concentrated supply of fat. For an animal living close to starvation, fat was treasure. That may be one reason your brain still reacts so strongly to rich food today. And meat was not the only thing on the menu. Our ancestors ate insects too. Termites, beetles, grubs, larvae. Foods many people today would find disgusting were once normal sources of protein and fat. For countless generations, eating meant taking whatever nature offered. Then humans learned to control fire. Evidence from Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa suggests humans were using fire around 1 million years ago. That changed everything. Fire made cooking possible. Meat could be roasted. Roots could soften in hot ashes. Bones could be heated. Tough plants became easier to chew and digest. Cooking essentially began part of digestion before the food ever entered your body. Raw food requires your digestive system to spend energy breaking it down. Heat does some of that work in advance, allowing the body to extract more calories with less effort. Some researchers believe this helped transform human evolution. As food became easier to digest, our digestive system could become smaller and less expensive to maintain. The energy saved could be used elsewhere, especially by the brain. Your brain is only a small fraction of your body weight, yet it demands an enormous share of your daily energy. That kind of organ is expensive. Cooking may have helped pay the bill. As human intelligence increased, the menu expanded too. By the time humans looked physically much like we do today, they were eating an astonishing variety of foods. Large animals like mammoths, bison, horses, and reindeer, fish and shellfish, roots, nuts, berries, mushrooms, seeds, and wild grains, eggs stolen from nests, and one food our brains still respond to almost irrationally: honey. Some modern hunter-gatherer communities still risk serious injury climbing trees and enduring hundreds of bee stings to reach it. Why? Because in the wild, concentrated sugar is incredibly rare. A honeycomb gives the body immediate energy and something equally valuable: extra calories that can be stored as fat. In a world where tomorrow's meal was never guaranteed, that could be the difference between survival and death. And the craving never left us. The problem is that your brain does not understand supermarkets. It only understands the ancient message attached to sweetness. Eat this now. For hundreds of thousands of years, sugar was difficult to find. When humans discovered fruit or honey, consuming as much as possible made perfect evolutionary sense. Today, that same system is surrounded by soda, candy, cereal, sauces, desserts, and processed foods engineered to trigger it constantly. Your body cannot tell the difference between rare honey discovered in a tree and a donut available 24 hours a day. The environment changed. The craving did not. The same is true of meat. One large animal could provide enormous quantities of food. A successful kill meant fewer hours spent searching for small plants and scattered calories. That created something humans desperately needed: time. Time to care for children. Time to teach. Time to improve tools. Time to sit around a fire and exchange stories. So cravings for protein, fat, sugar, and calorie-dense foods are not random weaknesses. They are echoes of foods that once kept people alive. But there is another part of the human diet that is much harder to look at. Human beings sometimes ate other human beings. At Gough's cave in England, archaeologists discovered human remains dating back roughly 14,700 years. The bones had been deliberately processed. Skulls were carefully cleaned and shaped. Long bones were broken open in ways similar to animal bones used for extracting marrow. Some skulls appear to have been turned into cups. What makes the discovery more disturbing is that the people involved do not appear to have been starving. Animal remains were present too. There was other food available. And from a purely nutritional perspective, Humans were not even particularly efficient prey compared with large animals. A human body contains far fewer calories than a bison or mammoth. So this behavior may not simply have been about hunger. One human bone was carved after the flesh had already been removed. That suggests meaning, ritual, symbolism. Something beyond basic survival. And Gough's cave is not unique. Evidence of similar behavior has appeared at archaeological sites across parts of Europe. For long stretches of human prehistory, eating another human may sometimes have had cultural, spiritual, social, or ritual significance. That uncomfortable fact reminds us how different the ancient world could be from ours. But our ancestors also ate food that modern people would reject for another reason. It was rotten. There were no refrigerators. When hunters killed a large animal, the meat could not always be eaten immediately. Some was buried. Some was hidden in caves. Some was stored in cold water. Then people returned later, sometimes much later. By then, the meat might smell terrible, contain insects, and be deep into decomposition. And people still ate it. In some cases, they may even have valued the way decomposition changed the food. Bacteria begin breaking tissue down before you eat it, making some parts softer and altering their nutritional content. To a modern person, it sounds revolting. Yet the basic principle never disappeared. We simply learned to control it. Cheese, yogurt, sourdough, pickles, soy sauce, beer, wine, they are all products of microorganisms transforming food. Modern fermentation is decomposition with boundaries. We slowed it down, selected the organisms we wanted, and made the process safer. But the ancient attraction to transformed food may reach far deeper into our history than any modern kitchen. Your cravings did not begin in restaurants, supermarkets, or factories. They were shaped in a world where food could disappear for days. That is why your body responds so strongly to fat, to salt, to sugar, to rich, concentrated calories. The ancient rule was simple. When valuable food appears, eat it, because there is no guarantee it will still be there tomorrow. That programming is still operating inside you. At 11 at night, you can stand in front of a refrigerator even when you are not truly hungry and begin searching for something satisfying. Your conscious mind knows there will still be food tomorrow. Your biology does not care. It was shaped by millions of years in which abundance was temporary. Eat what's available. Store energy. Prepare for shortage. That system helped your ancestors survive. Now it exists in a world of permanent abundance. And that creates a strange contradiction. Modern humans have access to more food knowledge and more food than almost anyone in history. Yet, most of us would be almost helpless in the environment our ancestors mastered. Imagine being dropped into the world 50,000 years ago. You might see a landscape filled with food and still starve. Which plants are safe? Where is drinkable water? Which roots contain calories? How do you find honey without falling from a tree? How do you track an animal? How do you preserve meat? How do you break a bone efficiently enough to reach the marrow? Your ancestors understood these things because their lives depended on them. Most of us do not. You could die surrounded by resources you never learned to recognize. Now, reverse the situation. Take a human from 50,000 years ago and place them inside your kitchen. Imagine what they would see. A machine that keeps food cold without winter. Fruit from climates they have never visited. Milk preserved safely for days or weeks. Bread already prepared. Meat that required no hunt. Sweet drinks sealed inside metal containers. Food appearing in quantities large enough to feed an entire group, sitting casually on shelves. To them, your refrigerator might look less like an appliance and more like the storage room of a god. The most calorie-rich foods their world could offer only occasionally are now available whenever you want them. And that may be the strangest part. Your environment has transformed almost completely. Your body has not. Every desire for sweetness, richness, salt, fat, and protein carries information from a much older world. A world where humans scavenged marrow from bones because predators had already taken everything else. A world where insects were dinner, where honey could justify climbing a dangerous tree, where one successful hunt could change the fate of an entire group, where food might be buried, fermented, rotting, or shared around a fire because wasting calories could mean death later. For millions of years, hunger was normal, cold was normal, exhaustion was normal. Uncertainty was normal. The strange thing is not that your ancestors lived that way. The strange thing is how recently we stopped. You may belong to one of the first tiny fractions of humanity able to assume that tomorrow's meal will simply be there. And yet every time you open the refrigerator looking for something rich, sweet, salty, or satisfying, the ancient human inside you is still searching, still storing, still preparing, still trying to survive a famine that may never come. This is Vesper. The kitchen changed. The human animal standing inside it barely has.